Welcome back. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to use the future perfect tense in English. And the future perfect tense helps us talk about an action that will be completed before a specific time in the future. Okay, for example, I will have submitted the application by noon. She will have reached the airport by tomorrow morning. They will have paid the invoice before the deadline. In each of these sentences, the action is not complete now, but at a future time, the action will be complete, okay? The structure for this is subject plus will have plus past participle, okay? For example, I will have submitted. You will have prepared. He will have repaired. She will have chosen. We will have confirmed. They will have delivered. One helpful thing about the future perfect is that will have is the same for every subject, okay? So I will have, you will have, he will have, she will have, we will have, and they will have, okay? After will have, we use the past participle. For regular verbs, the past participle often ends in ed. For example, prepare becomes prepared, repair becomes repaired, confirm becomes confirmed, deliver becomes delivered, okay? So we can say, I will have prepared the notes. She will have repaired the bicycle, okay? But there are, just as we've seen in other lessons, there are many verbs that are irregular, okay? For example, words like buy becomes bought, bring becomes brought, choose becomes chosen, send becomes sent, make becomes made, speak becomes spoken, drive becomes driven, okay? So to use some of these irregular verbs, we can say, I will have bought the tickets. She will have brought the documents. They will have chosen a new design. We will have sent the invitation. He will have made the payment. You will have spoken to the manager. The driver will have driven across the city. So we wouldn't say something like, I will have buyed, or she will have bringed. They will have choosed, okay? Those are all incorrect, okay? Now, let's talk about when we use the future perfect, which is the most important. We use the future perfect when we want to say that something will be completed before a future time, okay? I will have submitted the application by noon. This means that the application will be complete before noon or no later than noon. In another example, she will have reached the airport by tomorrow morning. This means that her arrival at the airport will happen before tomorrow morning, okay? You could also say, they will have paid the invoice before the deadline, okay? We will have launched the website by next month. He will have repaired the sink before the guests arrive, okay? In each sentence, the future perfect shows that the action will be complete before another future time or event, okay? So now let's look at the word by, okay? The word by is very common with the future perfect. By means not later than a certain time. For example, by noon, by tomorrow morning, by next month, by the start of class, by the end of the summer, okay? So you could say something like, I will have submitted the form by noon. She will have reached the airport by tomorrow evening. They will have installed the software by next month, okay? We will have saved enough for the trip by the end of summer, okay? You have to remember, by gives us the deadline or the future point, okay? So now let's compare the future perfect with the simple future. The simple future talks about something that will happen. For example, I will submit the application at noon. This can mean the action happens at noon, okay? The future perfect talks about something that will be completed before a future time. For example, I will have submitted the application by noon, okay? This means that the application will be submitted before noon or no later than noon, okay? So let's just compare a couple of sentences here. She will reach the airport tomorrow. And she will have reached the airport by tomorrow morning. The first sentence tells us that she will reach the airport in the future, okay? The second sentence tells us she will reach the airport before a specific time in the future, okay? And we can also make negative sentences. And to make a negative sentence, you add not after will, okay? And the structure is a little bit different. It's subject and then will not plus the past participle. For example, I will not have submitted the form by noon. She will not have reached the airport by tomorrow morning. They will not have paid the invoice before the deadline. He will not have repaired the sink before dinner. In speaking, we usually use the contraction of won't have, okay? Instead of will not, we contract that to won't, W-O-N apostrophe T, okay? For example, I won't have submitted the form by noon. She won't have reached the airport by tomorrow morning. They won't have paid the invoice before the deadline. He won't have repaired the sink before dinner, okay? And if we want to make questions, we're going to move will before the subject, okay? And the structure is going to be will plus subject plus have plus past participle, okay? For example, will you have submitted the form by noon? Will she have reached the airport by tomorrow morning? Will they have paid the invoice before the deadline? Will he have repaired the sink before dinner? And if you want to include short answers, these are very simple. So you can say, will you have submitted the form by noon? Yes, I will. Or no, I won't. Will she have reached the airport by tomorrow morning? Yes, she will. Or no, she won't. Now, if we want to look at some common mistakes with this phrasing, mistake number one would be using the base verb instead of the past participle. So the incorrect way to say this would be, I will have submit. Okay, she will have reach. The correct way to say it is, I will have submitted. She will have reached. Okay. Mistake number two is using the wrong past participle with irregular verbs. It would be incorrect to say, they will have choosed, he will have maked, we will have bringed, okay? The correct way would be to say, they will have chosen, he will have made, we will have brought, okay? Mistake number three is forgetting have, okay? So it would be incorrect to say, I will submitted by noon, okay? She will reach the airport by tomorrow, okay? The correct way when you include have is I will have submitted by noon. She will have reached the airport by tomorrow. And mistake number 4 is confusing by and at, okay? Use by when you mean the action will be complete before a deadline. For example, I will have submitted the form by noon, okay? Use at when you mean something happens at that exact time, okay? For example, I will submit the form at noon, okay? And I will have submitted the form by noon, okay? So the future perfect tense talks about an action that will be completed before a specific time in the future, okay? The structure is pretty straightforward. Subject, and it's always will have, and the past participle, okay? The future perfect is useful because it helps you talk about actions that will be complete before a future deadline or future event. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next lesson.